Hi everyone, Eric Nelson here once again, and thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. For today, I am back with another book review on Klass's Eye of the Storm, Eilida's Tragedy. Now, like I said in another book review, which was by Roberta Goodman, whose book was Snow Escape. Now, that book actually was one of the first Hitchcockian books that I have ever read, and why I thought that book was so great because it played so well, just like a Hitchcockian film. And in case you don't know what that means, Hitchcockian comes from the famous film director Alfred Hitchcock. Now, he directed a lot of famous thrillers late uh, back in the late 40s, going on probably until the late 70s, because he had passed away in 1980. And he was so recognized in his films because in the films that he made, particularly in thrillers, they were so unique because each and every single one of them was had a unique story that was never really told before. And now, in case you still don't know who I'm talking about, please by all means see his films. You are in for a real treat. And since Roberta Good, Goodman's story, I've maybe a few of them here or there. I never really seen a good Hitchcockian d- story for a while, up until this week, which is the one that I'm reviewing right now, which is of course Elle Klass's book. And I think hers is not 100% Hitchcockian, and you know what? Even Roberta Goodman's story isn't 100% Hitchcockian either, because everybody has their own uniqueness. So Elle Klass really put her own flavor into her Hitchcockian thriller, and her story actually begins with a short poem which is entitled "'Twas the Night Before Death." and no, it's not just an ordinary small little poem. It really does fit well with the entire story. And once you finish it, well, maybe not once you finish it, but probably uh, somewhere halfway, you will see the significance of the poem. And after the actual poem, we go into a prologue where we are introduced to Eilida, who is fearful of thunderstorms, and she lives in the woods, and she's not that all intimidated by the wood creatures who can easily cause her harm. Yet, uh, th- th- thunderstorms, which if you get hit by lightning is like one in a million, but surrounded by woodland animals, yeah, there's a good chance you could become a victim of them. But anyway, I guess that's what a lot of weird fears are seen as a little awkward. So anyway, the book actually opens with a storm approaching, and she's sort of debating on whether or not she should go out and meet her friends downtown. And when she decides to take her chances against the thunderstorm, she notices that her neighbors are arguing and causing a lot of chaos in their house. And once she's finally ready to leave and go into downtown, she notices that there's some whimpering going on in her neighbor's house, and when she goes to investigate the results of the quote unquote argument, it actually horrifies her, and she runs out. And as she's running out, the thunderstorm has occurred, and there's a lot of rain going on. And then she slips and falls into a shallow river, and that knocks her unconscious. But she's found and brought to the hospital, and as she's recovering, a local news reporter by the name of Sunshine appears, and she appears to be very interested in learning about her and what had happened to her. And as Sunshine digs more and more into her psyche, as well as her childhood and her family and friends, she becomes very intrigued by Eilida. And once I realized that Eilida and Sunshine have two very different personalities and two very different tastes in things and view on life, I made a prediction on what kind of character Sunshine was. Now, was my assumption right? I will not say, because it is well worth the read. As I said before, it is a pure Hitchcockian-like thriller, but of course with the author's own unique spin on things. And this book is actually part one of a series, and I'm not sure if the other books are available connected to this series yet, but you can follow her on the Twitter and her own website, as well as Facebook or Amazon. And yeah, I just think that this book is a pure classic old-fashioned storytelling with just a little bit of modernization. So you can get this book on Amazon or anywhere, and I hope to see you all at the bookstore or the iBookstore.